Okay, let's dive right into this explainer on a truly foundational Buddhist text. Today, we're taking some ancient mysticism and translating it into incredibly practical life advice. Whether you're already deeply well-versed in Eastern philosophy or you're literally just looking for a clearer way to navigate the absolute chaos of modern life, the insights we're going to look at today are profound and, honestly, remarkably grounded.
Now, what's super interesting right off the bat is how this text completely flips our standard expectations. Usually we think of gods or deities as these omniscient, all-knowing beings handing down wisdom to us humans, right? But here, the deities are actually the ones looking for answers. They're the students. So here is how we're going to break it all down today. First, discourses with the deities. Second, how to cross the flood. Third, temptation and the present. Fourth, the taxonomy of giving. And finally, wisdom for all realms. Let's jump into Section 1, Discourses with the Deities. The text we're looking at is called the Devatā Saṃyutta. This translates to the Connected Discourses on Deities. And it's actually the very first chapter of a much larger collection called the Saṃyutta Nikāya. Found within what's known as the section of verses, this text uses these really beautiful, short, poetic verses to document what are basically late-night VIP visits. We're talking radiant deities literally coming down in the middle of the night just to seek out the Buddha. And this brings us to our first huge takeaway. It turns out, no matter how high up you are in the universe, you're still searching for clarity. These celestial beings aren't perfect. They're confused, they're still totally trapped in the cycle of rebirth, and they suffer from the exact same delusion and ignorance that we humans do. The Buddha is sitting there as the supreme teacher, and even the most powerful gods have to come to him for the clarity that they lack.
Moving on to Section 2, How to Cross the Flood. So, a deity approaches the Buddha and asks him a seemingly straightforward question. They ask, "How, dear sir, did you cross the flood?" Now, context here. The flood represents the turbulent cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, plus all the defilements that keep us submerged in it. And the Buddha responds with this incredibly striking riddle. He says, "I cross the flood by not halting and by not straining."
Okay, so how do we unpack this water navigation metaphor? Well, the Buddha explains that when he halted, meaning he just stayed in place, got complacent, and indulged in the sensual comforts of worldly existence, he sank. But on the flip side, when he strained, meaning he pushed way too hard, frantically struggling or using anxious self-mortification to escape, he just got swept away. He's teaching us that successfully navigating life absolutely requires the middle way. You have to avoid both lazy indulgence and frantic burnout.
In the Buddhist tradition, this metaphorical flood is broken down into 4 specific entanglements. First, we have Kama Aga, which is the flood of sensual desires. Then Bhava Aga, the flood of attachment to existence. Ditthi Agar represents the flood of wrong views. And finally, Avijja Agar is the flood of ignorance. These are the 4 massive currents that keep all sentient beings completely submerged in suffering and chaos.
The modern takeaway here is just incredibly powerful. Escaping this flood, whether you view that as achieving ultimate enlightenment or literally just finding some peace of mind on a busy Tuesday, requires right effort. It demands a consistent, completely balanced energy. You can't be lazy and complacent, but you also can't be frantic and anxious. You just have to keep swimming, steadily. Let's move to Section 3, Temptation and the Present.
Picture the scene described in this text. It's dawn at the Tapoda hot springs. A young, handsome monk named Saṃyutta, who recently renounced worldly life right in the prime of his youth, is bathing. As he's drying off, this radiant, beautiful female deity appears. She literally lights up the entire hot springs, and she tries to tempt him. She's urging him to enjoy human sensual pleasures right now, before he gets old and misses his chance. This sets up a really fascinating debate about how we perceive time. The deity is basically arguing for instant gratification, right? She claims sensual pleasure is directly visible right now, whereas the goal of spiritual liberation is way off in the future. It's time-consuming. But the young monk counters this brilliantly. He argues that chasing sensory desires is what is actually endlessly time-consuming and just full of stress. For him, liberation isn't some delayed reward. It's the immediate, directly visible experience of freedom right here, right now. Now, because the monk is young, he invites the deity to take this debate straight to the Buddha. And the Buddha, of course, takes the conversation way beyond just pleasure. He points right to the root of suffering, our identity.
He explains that true suffering actually comes from a step-by-step process of ego formation. First, we cling to signs, concepts, labels, forms. Next, we use those labels to measure ourselves. We think, I'm better than, I'm worse than, or I'm equal to someone else. And finally, that constant measuring inevitably leads us right into disputes, pride, and deep suffering.
The deity immediately grasps this profound psychological insight. She realizes that to end the struggle of the self, you have to cut off the craving for identity entirely, leaving no trace of ego for the world to latch onto. She concludes that true peace boils down to three things: doing no evil in word, body, or mind, abandoning the sensual desires that keep you trapped, and staying deeply mindful and clearly comprehending in the present moment. That's how you avoid unnecessary suffering.
All right, Section 4, the taxonomy of giving.
In this part, the Buddha provides a really brilliant matrix to a deity who asks about the nature of giving. He basically maps exact material gifts to the specific physical and spiritual rewards they yield. It's so logical. If you give food, you're giving strength. If you give clothes, you're giving beauty or a good complexion. Giving a vehicle or transport provides someone with ease and comfort. And giving a lamp gives vision and clarity. It's this beautifully simple framework that validates the daily life of a layperson and highlights just how important it is to support others' basic needs.
But the deity pushes a little further and asks, okay, but who is a giver of everything? While food and clothes are obviously vital, the Buddha notes that giving a residence or shelter is the ultimate material gift. Providing a home is considered giving everything because it establishes safety, protection, and literally forms the foundation for all those other comforts to even exist. However, the Buddha elevates the conversation one more time. He points out that while material gifts offer tremendous comfort within the cycle of rebirth, they're still subordinate to the ultimate gift. He says, but the one who teaches the Dhamma is the one who gives the deathless. Basically, by teaching the truth, the Dhamma, you are providing the actual path to ending suffering entirely.
Finally, Section 5, Wisdom for All Realms.
The Devatā Saṃyutta really proves that the struggle against ego, time, and desire is entirely universal. Honestly, it doesn't matter if you're a human being or a radiant deity lighting up a forest. The fundamental principles of suffering, impermanence, and non-self still apply to you. These discourses emphasize the urgency of practice, what's called appamada. Time is short. We are all heading toward death, so we have to act with diligence right now. But at the same time, it beautifully shows that accessible wisdom and ultimate truths can be grasped through totally grounded daily actions, whether that's offering a simple gift of food or just finding balance in our daily efforts. So I want to leave you with this final thought to help you reflect on your own sense of balance. Think about the waters you are swimming in right now. How are you navigating your own flood today? Are you halting and sinking into lazy indulgence? Or are you straining so hard you're getting swept away by anxiety and striving? Keep seeking that middle way, and I highly encourage you to explore these incredible ancient texts further on your own.